Put the talent in the picture.
That's right. No, not me.
Sit down.
It's all you, man. All right, guys. Clifton Denny here with On Your Own Outdoors. Today, man, we've got a special guest. So, for years, I've been using this product called CAMO Dust. If you have followed our Facebook through On Your Own Outdoors or the Team Knocked Up Facebook, you would know how how much we believe in this stuff. So, anyways, a couple weeks ago, I reached out to Mr. Chris. He's with CAMO Dust, and asked him if we could come meet him so I could ask him some questions about it that I know a lot of guys have been asking. So, Mr. Chris, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And so we can kind of get this started if you want to introduce yourself. And
Chris Parnell with CAMO Dust, and I'm the National Sales Director, owner. Me, my dad, uncle, and brother pretty much run the company, so it's most of the stuff is me, and the other guys are a little bit behind the scenes. They do all the killing.
That's right. That's right. We all do the best we can, anyways.
Yeah.
So hey, before we even get started in here, guys, I want you guys to check out this video. If you haven't seen my hog video yet, go back, check it out. Pig was at 12 yards dead downwind. I was covered from head to toe in this CAMO Dust. But check this deer hunt out real quick. It's a nice Pope and Young buck. Does a complete circle around me. Never has any idea I was there. So enjoy this video. All right, Chris. So now we're gonna start drilling you a little bit, if you're
Yeah,
all right with
hammer
that. So, anyways, for the last few years, guys, we have been. I don't even want to say pushing this product. It's just guys see us use it and then want to know what it is and how it works. One of the things that I have a hard time with is being able to explain that. So the purpose of this video is to kind of get all that out, all that information out to everyone, so that you know where it started, what it is, how it works, and actually have the brains behind the product in here with us to ask those questions that I know guys have asked me. Good with that?
Yeah, that'll work.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with, do you want to tell us kind of how it started? Like where the product, how y'all came up with this great idea?
Well, this is a byproduct of a product we used to call ammonia hold that was used in poultry houses to eliminate the ammonia smell in chicken houses. Everyone that has driven by one knows how bad they smell.
Yeah.
So we had a product called ammonia hold, and we could put it in chicken houses, and you would do a air quality sample test before the layout, and it would be about 500 parts per million of how bad the smell is, just the way they test the badness of it. And
checking the particles in the air,
yes,
I guess.
particles in the air to see how bad it smells. And then 3 days after chickens were in there and they had started using the bathroom on the product, they would activate our ammonia hold and it would start working, and you'd go in and pull another air quality sample, and we were within 3 to 5 days had taken it down below 5 parts per million. So anywhere all the way down from 500 to 5 parts per million, attacking the ammonia levels in the chicken house. So you have better chickens, healthier chickens. They can breathe. So, but that was a seasonal product. So we went from doing that in the wintertime while the curtains are down on the chicken houses to trying to find something to do for the summer months, because when they raise the curtains, you really don't need ammonia hold, because they can let it vent, turn the fans on and blow out the chicken houses. So we come up with another product, odor sensory cat litter. So it was a additive to a cat litter box that would take the smell out of your cat litter boxes for up to weeks at a time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we went and we actually bought a cat litter company and then started adding our product to it, and it was Better Way cat litter.
Okay.
For years we did that, and as you grade this stuff out, you have a bunch of fines, which is what this stuff is.
Here nor there, I'm gonna interject. He's gonna get to this, but his dad's a big killing dude, a big deer killing guy. So yeah, he's working up to that, but that's where this is going. I know.
Yeah. So he so they had the cat litter, ammonia hold, and then the cat litter, and of course we had a product called Barn Guard that went in barns pretty much just attacking stink. The name of our business, and Better Way was carrying on, and we had the fines from all that product that we had toll processed down to get our certain sizes of granulars and stuff for cat litter and all that. And Dad and a couple of his buddies had been hunting one day, and I think it was 1995, pretty sure it was 95 deer season, and they were sitting at Sonic here in Lone Oak, and one of the guys says, "You ain't got anything that can take care of us. You attack the smell of everything else. Can you?" And so Dad got to thinking and went to working on the chemistry equation of what it would take to attack the human scent molecule. And the next weekend they went hunting, and I should have brought the sock in here, but it's a big old long tube sock. It has the original sock.
So still got it?
Yes, yeah, it's in his office.
We'll throw that up in here, up above us. So maybe we can hang the sock over here, so anybody's explaining.
Yeah. So they took it hunting and on some public ground, and he's bow hunting only on public ground here in Arkansas, and they went hunting, and it was they got to laughing at each other because they were whacking each other with this sock, and this dirt was just going everywhere, just plumes of powder. And if you've used CAMO Dust, you understand what I'm talking about. We always say stay dusty,
That's right.
because the more you have on it, the better it works.
Get dusted, not busted.
That's
right.
right.
That's
it.
it.
Right. That's the name of the game. And so they powdered down, and the amount of deer they saw, I think all three of them ended up killing a deer that day. Just does, no bucks or anything like that, but It was just the fact that the first trip out using CAMO Dust, they whacked 3, just right there.
That's
Right there
awesome.
on the first trip, and didn't waste any time.
Didn't get that big cow head
No.
doe to
No,
bust you
those,
out.
those private land, big nanny does that walk through the woods looking up,
That's right.
had them whooped. So,
That's
I mean,
right.
they didn't smell anything, didn't go out and blow, or didn't get busted by any deer. He can't remember the numbers, but he said it was definitely a memorable hunt because they all came home they drug out 3 that night.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, or that afternoon, I guess.
That
is what it
first
was.
time out,
Yeah,
and it worked.
first trip using CAMO Dust, and
So since
it was
that, I'm
successful.
sure he's even worked there. Y'all have worked the process over.
He started, yeah. He told me and Jason he was gonna. Well, as we got, we're
Jason, by the way, is his
Yeah,
brother.
my little brother Jason.
You can see this crazy looking deer here.
one on the left.
He's a big deer killing guy as well.
And that's a public land deer So he
Insanity using CAMO Dust.
That's right.
Actually, where I met Chris at.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Whenever
That's
I shot a deer, what's it been, 3 years ago now? Crying shame, I lost this deer, and it was probably the biggest one in the area after Jason had killed this one. But I shoot a 150-inch 10-point. I'm just all kinds of excited. And anyways, I ended up losing this deer in the bio, but before I even knew that you were the owner of CAMO Dust, I was using CAMO Dust and had no idea who Chris Parnell was, right? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Had no idea who Chris Parnell was, and then got linked up through Lee.
Yep.
And
Mark
then,
Lee,
Yep, through Mark Lee, and then he came down there and was like, "Oh yeah, blah blah. I have CAMO Dust with me," and he's like, "Oh, that's who I am." So that kind of started all this here and there.
I make sure anybody that hunts anywhere around us has a can of CAMO Dust. I just don't want.
If I remember, that's what you tried to do. Was give me some, and I was like,
I already got some.
I got some.
I'm not letting you walk out of my sight hunting an area like that because you sneak in on me, 60 yards from me, and we've got deer like that there at that spot. I don't want to waste an afternoon or an opportunity to kill a 150-inch deer with some yahoo that comes in not using CAMO Dust.
That's right. I mean, that's what I always tell everybody. Anyways, we are primarily public land hunters, and I always say that I would rather hunt with 100 guys that know what they're doing than 3 dudes that don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And CAMO Dust kind of falls in that category with that, honestly.
That's right.
So did y'all start? When did y'all start mass producing?
So we
that?
started. It was not long after that.
Okay.
Dad started putting it out there, and we put it in as many guys' hands around here that we could, and said, "Hey, try this." We didn't even have a sock. It was pretty much, we're going to give you a sack of dirt, dump it in your own sock, tie
Do you
it
mind
up.
if I open this?
Yeah, open it up.
But just so y'all can understand what he's talking about with the sock thing.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. But they put it in their own sock, and they went to doing it, and that's it right there.
This is it, man. When you're in the deer stand,
That's perfect.
you gotta get
That's
right.
Perfect. That's how you do it. That's right
it.
there.
Yep. Stay
Shake it out,
dusted,
get
not
it all
busted.
over you.
Yep.
And everything it sticks to will sit there and just act like a barrier. And as your scent molecule goes through it, it latches on, neutralizes, and eliminates it. So
What I always tell everybody, if you don't look like you just came out of the cookie factory, you're not doing it
that's
right.
right.
I made a mess.
That's,
But-
no, it's perfect.
But
Hey,
just know when
just
you're in a
take
deer
it.
stand, this stuff isn't doing anything but just laying down on top of you. So it's awesome.
It's absolutely, yeah, that's perfect. You did it. You did great.
That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I
So we
this
got
up,
it in
man.
as many guys' hands as we could to try to get some feedback. And honestly, we haven't ever had anybody say it doesn't work or it doesn't work. It didn't do what it was supposed to. If they do, it's because they didn't use it right. A lot of guys will go through first time to use it, and not one of the good things about this video is teaching people how to use it.
That's
It's
right.
got to be on your body for it to work. Now you still
you can't just go through. And I had a guy 2 years ago. Maybe he'll comment on the bottom of this because I know he watches the YouTube page. But anyways, I had a guy 2 years ago. It was like, man, I don't know about it, blah blah. And I was like, man, no, look at me. And so I sent him a video, and I'm just covered in it. I was like, if you're not looking like this, then is it actually working? You can't,
Yeah.
it's just like anything else. You can't, do like that and think that you're good to go. You
Yeah.
gotta cover yourself up.
Yeah, you're day 15 in the woods and you hadn't had a bath. It's just going to take a lot of CAMO Dust to get that odor off of you. You might change clothes on day 8 or 9, and then we'll revamp and go from there. But you got to give it an honest chance. You can't be walking into this chicken shack and buying sausage and biscuits and bacon, and then going and dusting down and saying, "Oh man," or
That's right.
But it's the Facebook page has really been fun to watch. Anytime somebody says, "Hey, it's not working," I've got guys I don't know and that's what I like. It's guys that I don't know or I've never met that don't know me personally will get on there and say, I don't think you're using it right, or this and that, or
We've been walking around in diesel for the last 2 days trying to.
Yeah, something's happened.
Right.
What's the deal? And I had a cow come through 30 minutes, and they're, guys believe in CAMO Dust so much that if somebody says it doesn't work, it's because something else happened, or they didn't do something right, or their wife washed their clothes and then dried it with a dryer sheet, or just crazy stuff like that. That they don't, they're not thinking. You and I are pretty fanatical about our scent and understand that is an important nose on a billy goat with fancy horns.
That's
And, that's what they are, and they smell so good, and you got to beat it. But it's not just for deer hunting; it's elk, bear. I've had a guy tell me, predator hunting, you can use it you can take it to Africa, and that line's not going to smell you.
That's right.
I don't think that's how they hunt lions. They chase them until they get mad and come at them.
That's right.
But leopards or anything, it doesn't matter where you're at. I'm ready to get it to Africa because it's so hot. I'd like to see, the difference over there. I know it'll make a difference. There's no doubt about
I
that.
can guarantee you it does. There's a hog video that shows it was, man. It's like Florida's like 300% humidity. It's the most miserable I've ever been.
We just posted a video, a picture the other day. A guy killed a velvet buck in Tennessee. It was 93 degrees. And had 10 doe straight downwind. You're sweating in 93 whether you're moving or not.
That's right.
It's just hot out there. You're wearing long sleeve, keep the bugs off of you, and he smacked a good one in velvet.
That's awesome.
Opening.
One things that guys that I being on all the forums and being on all the pages, you always get those guys. It's like you can't beat a deer's nose, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to go for or against that, but I will tell you this. If I have a deer walking by me and I can convince that deer that I'm 300 yards away instead of 30 yards away, drew back with that VXR fixing to let one fly through his rib cage, then it works. That's at the end of the day, and I'm not saying that, with this product or any other product that a deer, you're not going to get that kind of, and then they just go on about their business. Well, at the moment that they pick that head up, as soon as they put their head back down, you won that game, right? In my opinion.
That's 100% the name of the game. You watch videos back years ago, and you'll see, you always know that they're fixing to get busted when they do the behind the picture, then you see a little leaf blow, and then you know that deer's fixing to bust out of there.
Yep.
It hurt my feelings if somebody was taking a video and showed that with CAMO Dust. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of deer walk through the woods and cross my trail. Now they may stop sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just beeline with their head down, or they're just walking through, and it'll be a herd of 7 or 8 doe, and that big doe's looking for some excuse to blow. They just want it. That's their goal in life, is to blow 100 times a day.
If she blows, she goes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And
sending one.
So, and they do that, and the times they do stop, it's fun to watch. They'll throw that nose up and they lick, and then they you can tell them they're working. And I always like to think they're getting a breath of their very first breath of fresh air, because I just purified that air.
That's right.
That CAMO Dust. I just went through there, and it eat every bit of that human scent up and did what it was supposed to do. And they're like, and sometimes they'll turn and they're curious. So if it's not dangerous, and this is why I believe in it 100%. I would say at least, I'm not even going to put a number. There is a bunch of times I've been sitting in the tree and a deer has come, whether it be a buck or a doe, hit my trail and turn and come straight towards me. It's not an attractant. There's not an attractant in that sock.
That's right.
But something, and that's how you know that it works, because every deer in that woods, every deer in every patch of woods knows a human scent.
That's right.
And they know it's danger. They're not going to stick around, especially a deer like that.
That's right.
But when you get a deer that's a 148-inch deer, I know for a fact, there's been 148-inch deer, whack, turn and come straight in on a dime on the same trail, in the same boot tracks as the fella that shot it. It shows you right there, he ain't doing a scent drag. He ain't dragging doe pee behind him or anything like that. Something about it made that deer turn, but it wasn't danger to that deer. And that deer's old enough to know danger. And I have no doubt that anybody that's hunting, I had a buddy in Texas was hunting a 200-inch deer, and the deer boogered up one day, had 10 or 15 deer in the feeder, 12 yards from his stand. That deer locked up at 53 and just stood and looked at all those deer, wouldn't come in. And I said, man, don't worry about it. I said, he's probably looking at your stand. And he ended up moving his stand over about 10 or 15 yards and went back. Wouldn't go back. I wanted him to go that afternoon and shoot it. I believed in it so much. That's a 200-inch deer. That ain't my deer.
That's right.
But that's going to be a bad knock if that guy gets busted. And it's his last chance at a 200-inch deer. And it's always the last day, you know.
That's
you
right.
got to go home.
Yep.
Vacation's over. And,
Every time.
And you've just laid eyes on a 200-inch buck, and he's 53 yards from you, and you can't sling one at him. So I said, move your stand, hunt it this afternoon, and smoke him right at dark. He's gonna come back. He didn't eat today, so he's coming back in there. He's gonna check those doe. And wind was blowing from him to the feeder and then to the buck.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back the next morning. Wind had shifted completely, which was against. It really didn't help me out because I wanted a 200-inch deer straight downwind.
That's right.
And the Lord was looking out for me because the deer come straight downwind from behind him out of the mesquite and walked right under his deer stand and shot him at like 12 yards. So
that's awesome.
I mean, it wasn't a 200-inch deer though. It was 197. And
That's real close.
But it was a stud. But the deer never smelled him. So,
That's right.
You know, it's one of those
I'm
things.
gonna tell you, you know, piggybacking on that Texas thing. That's one of the places where it really ended up shining with me too. Is
Mm-hmm.
you know, hunting on public land here in Arkansas, we don't get to hunt over bait. That's not a thing for us.
right.
You know, our bait is a feed tree, which I mean, it might as well be a corn pile out in the big timber.
They're hitting it.
But those deer, you know, whenever I was down in Texas hunting with my buddy David, on their public land you can bait, and every deer comes in from downwind. There is no, you know, well, this deer might come from over here or come from over there. That, you know, in my opinion, we deal with a lot of times in public land is, you know, I see guys hunting trails, and I'm not saying that there's not trails, but, you know, I am typically a saddle hunter. Not the tree saddles, but I hunt contour of the land as a saddle. And so, anyways, you know, those deer travel up those fingers every other direction. You might see that buck come up this way today, the next way the next day. So, anyways, you know, for me, he's following his nose.
Yep.
That's what they do, you know. And you'll hear in a bunch of my videos that, you know, I really like to bump bedding areas. I think it's extremely important. When people talk about deer being on lockdown, we won't get into that. It's for another video. I don't believe in it, and the reason that I say that is because if you get close enough to that bed area, deer are going to do deer things. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. If you're hunting big timber, a deer is going to do deer things. They can't just lay down for 5 days. It's impossible. Now, they might not travel as far. This gives you that opportunity to get up there and get next to those deer.
Well, you can check the wind too. It'll make you a better hunter. You're sitting in there, you can see where the air conditioner just changed this
blowing it that way, yeah.
and did that. And you may think the wind's doing one thing.
That's right.
But you can watch that dust through the air, and it'll sit there and travel, and you'll move and start hunting the way the wind, because you know that's the way the big buck's gonna come.
He's coming with it in his face every time.
And it's perfect. He comes straight downwind. Well,
that's right.
You know, I might have thought, them weathermen, they're awesome. They get paid a lot of money, but they very rarely, when I go to my tree, it ain't blowing like they say it's going to blow.
No, it never is. You know, I use Onyx like I do CAMO Dust, and I really believe in it. And that it's the closest I can find. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing about that bumping that bedding area and the thing with CAMO Dust, for me anyways, personally, is that, you know, what I used to always preach to guys is if I know there's a known bedding area, you know, I'm waiting on that buck. I'm waiting on that wind to be coming out of that bedding area, and so I'm gonna try to set off, you know, 80 yards, hopefully, or 70 yards, hoping that he is that, you know, 30 to 40 yards off the bedding area, trying to check the wind. And years ago, I got busted more than once because what I wouldn't account for is the deer that's been up all day, and he's coming to check the wind of that bedding area, but he's coming from the big timber behind me. And anyways, you know,
a little 7-pointer.
That's right. Yeah. So now I set 35 yards off the edge of the bedding area because, hey, you know, most likely he's going to come right underneath me now, and if he doesn't, I'm dusted up. Let it ride.
Yep.
You know, I've got that much faith in the bride.
One of my dad's favorite thing to do is wait until the wind is going over this big thicket over there on some public ground, and he'll wait. And it's one or two times a year, and he will buck bomb that or put a bunch of doe urine out to draw those bucks out of that big thicket, and it'll do it every time. And you're thinking, man, his scent is blowing off in there too. And people, and this guy, he smacked some big ones. Him and my brother. I'm over here making cans, and they're killing a big deer, but they
will produce a product, and they're over there using it. Hey, everybody's got a purpose.
I just need pictures. I need pictures for the Facebook page. Yeah,
that's right. I do the videos. The wife does the editing. It's the same. You know, a little give and take. No, but like so to get back on track, because I know this is a big question a lot of guys have, because it's something that I have specifically asked him about before we got in here to talk on, to give you as much information about this as he can without giving it away, and that's the science of the product.
Yeah.
I can go through. When we get back to the house, if y'all want me to attach a video, I can go through and tell you a story of all 13 Pope and Youngs that's on my wall. That literally there are 2 of them that was killed on my whole wall that was before I started using CAMO Dust, and all the rest of them are since then. Now, like he said, a product will make you a better hunter will make you use products that work. So I'm not going to say that CAMO Dust is the reason I killed those 11.
Well, you had to be in the right spot.
That's right, right spot, right time. That's right. I actually said this yesterday to a guy on a page. He was like, well, I'll just follow you into your area where you kill big bucks at. And you know what? Get your stuff and let's go. Because knowing they're there is a quarter of the battle, So do you mind talking on a little bit of the science real quick for these guys?
We've got a whole bunch of fairies.
It's
just magic. No, I'm kidding.
You got Stevie excited. He's like, what? Berries? Okay, deal.
Yeah, we took a dirt years ago. We had a mine here in local that they were mining out of that Dad was using for the poultry product, and that mine closed. So we went from having a whole lot of access to dirt that would do what we needed it to do. And when I say dirt, it's our CAMO Dust is patented, it's trademarked, and it's registered. We've done all that with CAMO Dust. The process that we put the dirt through is patented. That's what you can't patent a dirt, but we've patented the process that we put the dirt through. And what it is, it's a dirt that we've dried the free moisture out of, because the human scent molecule is moisture. So we had to have something to stick to it, and once we put the dirt through the process, when it binds and latches on to the human scent molecule, it neutralizes and eliminates the odor that's in the human scent molecule. So it pretty much, when you powder down, you're powdering down, and this dust it's finer than talc. You can see a lot of it on the table, but that stuff in the air will actually latch onto your clothes also, and that is. Your human scent molecule can't see it. I can see that dust. That means it's going to take a lot of scent to fill that dust particle up. So it's sitting on your clothes, and it's just sitting there for the ride. And as your scent, whether you're sweating or not, you're always putting off an odor. Your own personal
You go to move,
yeah,
it still falls
you're
off and it connects with it again.
You're sloughing off skin cells. You're all day long. You're doing that. So all day sits. It's not I've had guys say they'll powder down at the truck, and then they don't carry their sock. Carry your sock everywhere you go. It fits in your front pocket of every hunting outfit that they make. There, or you're somewhere. You keep it on you and powder down. As your scent molecule passes through your clothes, it latches onto that dry dirt, and the patented process that we put the dirt through neutralizes and eliminates the human scent. That's about as basic as I can get.
That's awesome.
It just latches on, and then the process neutralizes and eliminates the human scent.
I think that is a pretty good explanation. I mean, it's better than the one he gave me earlier, guys, because what I understand of it now, I mean, you have something dry, the wet thing attaches to it, and that patented process that's in there is what, once it attaches, it kills what attaches to it.
It's not a cover scent or a masking agent. That's a lot of people will say masking, or they'll say cover, or any. It covers. You're covering your body with it.
That's right.
And I say camouflage for the human scent, and it's kind of a play on words. But man, when you powder down and then you walk out in the woods, it's just like you disappear.
That's right.
Because you beat their eyes with good camouflage. You can beat their eyes with buffalo plaid. They've been killing deer for hundreds of years wearing that. You got to be down. You got to be right with the wind to shoot them. So now you can beat their eyes, you can beat their ears by being still, and I can beat their nose to an extent.
That's right.
You know,
Make them think you're 300 yards away.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
Or you're just really, if it doesn't completely eliminate your scent, it does eliminate the fear and flight
That's right.
that deer has. So
There's something, but I don't know what it is.
It's
you're fixing to find out.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. What is that? And they go to licking, and it doesn't alarm them. It takes the fear and flight completely out of it. I mean, that's the easiest way to explain it. I mean, it's pretty high tech to be so simple. I mean, it's once it goes through that process, and we can do tests. One thing I like to show guys that just don't believe it: take you some pure ammonia, and I want to test something else while we're right here. There's absolutely zero specks of baking soda or baking powder or anything like that in this product. I've seen guys.
That's right.
I will keep my mouth shut on Facebook and just let people say what they want. My product, it'll speak for itself.
Well, hey, if you actually get some of this, and I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it's a lot finer than baking soda as well.
Yeah, well,
and we had.
I've had guys, and there's people that say baking soda works. Baking soda will absorb an odor, but it doesn't eliminate it.
That's right.
It just absorbs it. That's why you can.
It's only
still
got half the
smell.
battle.
You can still smell the freezer smell in your freezer. It might just not be so abundant.
That's right.
I mean, some of our the ammonia hold. We'd had guys that get a skunk under their house or under their trailer, and they'll come in and they'll get 2 or 3 pounds of it, and they'll put it on pie plates, and it'll take a couple of days, but it'll pull that skunk stink out of the air. Just having it, the last guy just dumped it in his living room floor, and he said, "We'll worry about getting it up after the smell's out." It was bad, but he so it absorbs it actually kills the odor.
Right.
It's not just a
Takes it in and then kills it. That's right.
And I don't.
Not just moving a stinky thing.
Right. I wouldn't. Baking powder's solid white and has a smell to it. To me, some socks, I'll open some socks up or open a can up, and I'll smell chocolate chip cookies. I don't know why. I don't know. I always say, man, if you open one up and it smells like a chocolate chip cookie, you fixing to kill a big buck. That deer right there. Jason opened a can and sent us a text and said, "Hey, I just opened a can and it smelled like cookies." So we knew something big with it. It's just
that's in your head.
Yeah, it must be. But
I don't know how many pounds of this stuff I've went through. I haven't smelled any cookies yet. I don't know.
Next time I get one, I'm gonna mail it to you.
That's right. Yeah.
So you gotta smell this. So it does not have an odor. It doesn't.
No, that's the big deal too that I was going to talk about whenever you got done with this is that some of the dust, we were talking about a guy earlier, we don't have to mention his name or whatever, but he actually started making his own dust, and there was a faint smell to it, just like the spray. There was a faint smell. Now, I don't know what that smell was, and I have no idea, but
probably carbon.
Right. And
I don't really know. I don't know what was in his dust.
That's not a thing, with the camo dust. I can't tell you how many guys that, Chris has given me stuff and I've given it to guys. And even before that, I was buying it and just handing it to people so that they would use it to, one thing that I don't do is, I do a bunch of reviews, but I don't do any promotion. And there's a reason for that is because usually people don't like my opinion. I'm not one of those guys that's just like, hey, if you give me a can of dust, I'm just going, all right, yeah, come buy this dust. But when that can of dust affects the decor in my house, and all the horns, the inches of bone. That's right. When your taxidermy bill goes up, that's right.
Something's working when you've got a good relationship with a taxidermist. So,
that's right.
Those guys are. It makes it makes your walls awesome.
Yeah.
You've got an unbelievable.
I appreciate
game room. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that for sure. There's a lot of miles and a lot of dust on that wall.
Yeah, there you go.
Both ways. Wife has an issue using the duster. So there's a lot of dust still on that wall. I'm just kidding. She's gonna get me. No, but seriously. So that's awesome. So that covers the science. So the last thing we want to talk about this product is that flag on the product, right? It says "Made in the USA." If you don't mind talking that for a minute, because you were telling us earlier, like every piece of it, from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, we had a chance to buy socks 3 years ago from China. They were they were way cheap. And it looks good when you're running a business, but we decided to stay 100% American made. Even the dirt, is mined here in America. The product that we use to make the dirt work like it's supposed to is American made. I mean, it's all 100% American made from top to bottom.
That's
everything
awesome.
you reach in there. So, you know, it means a lot to donate cans to veterans and Veterans Creeds Outdoors and Army Buck Hunters, Force on Force on their hunting show on the TV. It's you know, you want, that flag's important, so you want to give everybody a good quality product, and it is fitting that the best product on the market that eliminates human sin is American made, 100%.
Absolutely.
We don't get our caps from anywhere else; they're all America. So it's you know, it's America's the best.
That's awesome.
America.
Man. That's right, America all day. You know, the last thing we talk about is it's a local company, right? So you got what, 8 to 10 people or
Yeah,
something
got about
like
8
that,
guys.
right?
Yeah,
Right
8
now.
total.
And they showed us you can't see these machines that are behind you because we're not going to show them to you. But his dad Pat was actually in here and was showing my wife and I how they do this, and boy, they can cook.
It'll crank them out.
They
We just got our 3rd machine.
That's right.
So we're ready for.
Hey, one thing I'm going to show you guys too while we're sitting here. Any of you prior guys that use CAMO Dust, so the new stuff that's coming out. Look at this bread tie, right? So why is that bread tie important? That bread tie for me is important, is because I've used these socks multiple times.
Yep.
And stuff like that. You know, I'm hard on stuff, so maybe I bust one and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna lose all my stuff, and the other ones had zip ties on them.
Yep.
And your dad was telling us how y'all went to the bread ties,
Yep.
and it's huge. I'm not saying it's huge for y'all. It's huge for me.
It is.
This is a big deal for me.
And you know, the old socks. Well, we used to just put it in a cup.
Mm-hmm.
Put the dirt in a cup and wrap the sock around with a rubber band, and then a little thing of instructions, and it went in a brown box. I thought I had one close, but it was it's up on top. You can see it up there on
Will you bring me one of those, Stevie, please?
the brown one.
The brown one, left hand side. So what's funny about this stuff that she's fixing to bring, and I don't even know if you know this. So there is, I live in Sheridan, Arkansas, and this is the old school, right?
That's the original.
The OG, as some people like to call it, right? So a funny story about this. There's a dude named Caleb, and so Caleb hit me up like 3 years ago. There's a place in Grant County called Gibbs, and so Gibbs had this stuff. I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Well, Caleb is he owns a trash company, right? So Caleb was in there, and they had like 6 boxes of these, and Caleb messaged me. I was like, hey, is this stuff any good? And I guess you will remember because I messaged you and asked.
Is it
And you were like, has it been wet? I was like, I asked him, has it been wet? He's like, nope. Well, then yeah, it's still good. Caleb killed deer using it this year.
Yeah,
You know,
that's perfect.
it's the OG.
It has no shelf life as long as you keep it dry until it soaks up moisture or the human scent molecule. It's good. It's a deer killing tool. I mean, it is. I say deer. I keep using deer. Elk. It's changed the game on guys. I'll make sure they get cans of CAMO Dust, and they can attack the elk instead of having to go around a lip. And I've never been elk hunting. I'm scared to death too, as much as I love turkey hunting. I think I'd have to move out there and just do it all the time. But
Probably.
they say if you like turkey hunting, you'll love elk
Oh
hunting.
yeah, it's cool. That bugle.
Yeah, and I'm scared to get hooked on something else. So,
It's an expensive
yeah,
one too.
yeah.
It's
But
not cheap.
it's changed. I've got guys that out in Arizona that hunt 400-inch elk. It's a non-profit that takes wounded veterans and terminally ill youth hunting, and he doesn't have to walk them around. They're dusted down, and they go right at the elk, and he's getting these kids in at 25 and 30 yards on 300. These are all donated elk tags. You might wait a lifetime, and then for some reason can't go, and they donate them to this organization, and
awesome.
And these guys are attacking these elk, mule deer. It's changed the game out west in Arizona for sure. And then I've got buddies that go to Colorado, and man, it's as far as walking around, you just go right at them. Don't worry about the wind.
Awesome.
They'll dust down, and you'll try to skirt it, but instead of spending 3 hours attacking them, they'll just take off and an hour later have one on the ground. So
That's awesome.
it's
Well, I know for us.
Shortens the hunt anyway. So.
I know for us, man, them turkeys, they never hear you, they never smell you coming whenever you're using the camo dust. No, but on a serious note, like,
Well,
the
now,
pigs, man.
I've heard Phil Robertson say ducks can smell.
That's right.
It'll probably get a little flack, but if the man says a duck can smell, you better wear it after duck hunting.
That's right.
You're gonna let them in the
Duck
decoys.
season, that's right. You know how bad waiters can get to smell.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what you had the night before, kind of thing.
Bad,
You know?
yeah.
No, but so we use this a lot. My buddy Dylan, you'll see a couple of his pig videos on here and stuff because we just couldn't stand it anymore. We got out in the woods and started going after some pigs. But that's one thing that busts us real bad where I'm from, man. You take a big old boar hog and
That's how it used to be.
they can find you.
It'd have a sock wrapped around it. We used the sock.
That's right. Yeah.
I showed
Get
it-
low, had to pull
Showed
the
it,
sock
put
out.
it in. Yeah, we
That's
had
right.
we got us a good sock manufacturer now, so we're back in action.
Cool. It answers all the questions that I can think of. That I know that guys, like I said, I'm not out here selling this product, so I don't want you to think that. You know what I mean? This is literally stuff that guys have asked me about whenever I'm like, hey, you're gonna go get you some camo dust. Hey, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna interject right here real quick, and hey, let's do this.
I'm gonna come in for the assistance. So,
No.
is this good?
Quit.
Perfect.
I'm opening another one, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that works.
So there's a reason for this. So Chris is gonna stand here and he's gonna show you how he says that y'all should do this, and I'm gonna show you whatever I do whenever I'm in a tree.
So what I do is I usually have a can already open, but sometimes I'll open one right at the truck. I do it at the truck. That's the main thing we need to let everybody know. When you get out of your truck, I don't wear my clothes.
I'm gonna attach a picture on this actually. You remember the one that I
Yes,
sent you here
where it's
before last,
upside.
where it looks like a snow angel, but
Yeah.
really what it is what he was getting at is the stuff that I wear in isn't what I wear whenever I'm in a tree.
That's right.
Right, and so what I always do is lay everything out on the ground, and I'll go through and completely dust it, flip it, dust it, and then I'll roll pack all my stuff. I roll it up, put it in my bag,
And I've already got mine in my bag. I've already got mine in my backpack.
Okay.
It stays in the back of my truck. Actually, I got a pull-up bar in my garage, and I'll hang that backpack on it, and that's where it stays.
Okay.
And then I'll grab it, stick it in the back of the truck. It don't even go inside the truck. It
Right.
goes in the back of the truck and rides down the road. When I get, if it's 20 degrees outside, it's just 20 degrees. That's where they are when I get to the tree. But I'll wear something like this, hunting wise, but
Right.
it's just something easy. If it's real hot, this is exactly what I wear in the woods. And I'll go straight from work because I've got enough camo dust on me. I'm not going to stink. But I'll get to the truck. I'll get my sock and I'll powder down like this right here. Make sure the sock is loose. A lot of times that dust will pack down. Loosen it up because you want it to come out like that right there. And you powder down from your head to your toe, or from your feet all the way up. Work your head. Let that stuff. Take your long sleeve shirt and walk through it. I always make sure the wind's blowing. I turn into the wind, and I'll let the wind blow all that fine dust on me, whichever way the wind is blowing, and it'll, and I'll do the same thing front and back. Take my hat off, do my hat, do the inside of my hat, put it back on, and then I take off walking, and I'll walk. We hunt 2.5, 3 miles from the truck, so about every quarter, if it's real hot, we'll stop at a quarter. We usually walk about a mile before we stop. Dust down again. If I've got a buddy that's hunting somewhere, like we're hunting public land, if I know he's hunting off the road and he's hunting, a quarter off of the road, little trail we're walking in on, we'll dust down right through that area too, just to keep deer from locking up and turning around. They'll still go into that little section that he's in. You just never know which way they're going to walk. And then when you hit the big woods, you don't know where deer are going to go,
That's right.
come or walk. So we dust down. Once we get into our core area, where we know guys like us hunt, on those ridges that we hunt, we stay pretty religious on dusting down, and that's pretty much all you gotta do. You gonna show them how you do it?
No, it's the same. I was just explaining that what I usually do is I hit my stuff
Oh yeah.
before I go. Everybody does stuff a little different. And my
80 to 100 yards from the tree, definitely. Most people, they got fancy bows now. You can shoot 100 yards with crossbows if you're in an open spot. So if
73 yards with an obsession.
you see a deer, you don't want it to smell you and then turn and go the other way or stop or booger up or anything. So if I tell guys, if they can see them, if you can see the deer, you need to be powdering down. Powder down there again, and then walk to the stand. And if you're hooking on with a climber or you know, you lay your backpack down like we do when we change clothes or put a different set of clothes on.
I'll try to attach a video here. I don't know how clear it is. So maybe we can get one. My buddy Dan, he had never messed with any of this stuff. You remember that last year? He had that doe downwind, and so he's videoing with his phone, shaking the dust, and the dust is going right over the top of it. You know, and it never. I mean,
I've got pictures, videos. I probably should go through the phone and get them. I mean, I've had guys. I've hunted with a buddy. I took him. My brother killed I think it was like 120. Someone in there in the office. 128-inch 8-pointer over on some public ground. I carried a buddy in the next day. He shot it Friday evening. We walked in there, drug the deer out. It was a mile off the road. Drug it out, got it to the truck, and my buddy wanted to hunt the next morning, and we were hunting a bigger deer. And so I carried him back in there, and I put him on Jason's tree. I said, well, this was hot yesterday, and had 15 or 20 doe feeding on some, it was a feed tree.
Yep.
And so I said, hunt it, and that buck will come through. Well, he had a little, 6 or 8 point come through his little basket rack. But the deer come through right at the base of his tree, and his pull-up rope, he didn't pull it up. He just left his pull-up rope. Well, the deer got the pull-up rope caught between his horn and his nose. Well, he didn't panic until the deer just started walking, and he got to thinking, that's going to get hung. But it ended up just flopping off. But that deer, he had touched that rope
That's a big
all
scent
the
wave.
time. Yes,
Yeah,
that's all it
scent
is.
wave.
Well, he's using CAMO Dust like we do. I mean,
He's covered in it anyway.
He's saturated in it. So it's he just let it hang, and it was sitting there hanging, and that deer just walked, and it's running that wick right by that deer's nose, and that deer it went out there and it fed with the does that were there.
That's awesome.
Under that feed tree. So I mean, it's just crazy stuff like that. That the more you're in the woods, the more opportunities you have. That's what I like to tell people. You got daddies that want to take their kids out there. Every daddy out there that loves to hunt, whether they're hog hunting, trapping, that's another thing, trapping, varmint hunting, shooting coyotes. It doesn't matter. If it has a nose, CAMO Dust will beat it or put you in a situation where you can be successful.
That's right.
And I want every daddy, because I know how important it was for my kids, I wanted them to love it like I do, so we can spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
And so my 3-year-old little girl, her first experience with a doe after eating Skittles and scaring all the squirrels, we finally had a mama doe come in, and she's standing 3 feet from the blind, and all my little 3-year-old could say was, and she was quiet, did perfect, and but she could not quit after that deer walked off talking about how pretty her eyes were. I was a little worried that she wasn't going to want to shoot one later, but you know, here in Arkansas they can't hunt them till they're 6, but at 3, she just, and it stuck with her. She's 13, and she still talks about how pretty that deer's eyes were. Big brown, pretty eyelashes, and she just turned and looked right at us, and 3 feet away from us, and that deer never smelled us, and Jillian was just sitting there being quiet. She has no problem shooting anything that if it's brown.
She come on around with the
yeah,
family now.
Yeah,
Huh?
she loves.
What an
She
experience.
loves to hunt.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, you got a daddy that walks into a store and he's taking his kid. You want to be successful. So, you know, even if you're not a great hunter, the mediocre hunters or the weekend warriors, this stuff's the best stuff you can own. Next to what you're going to kill the deer with or kill the animal with, it's going to put you at an advantage against their nose, even when you're traveling looking for sign or anything like that. You see sign, you just busted through a major bedding area. Well, you didn't leave a whole lot of scent there to really booger them up, so you can circle back and hunt that the next afternoon, or you know, you see it on Saturday morning. You may not hunt it Saturday evening, but you could go back Sunday and hit that same.
Oh, for
bedding
sure.
area.
Yeah, that's one thing that the guys that, you know, even a couple weeks ago on one of the pages, I won't name drop it, but they were asking, what do you do during the summertime whenever you're scouting? And what do you do about your scent then? And my response was the exact same thing I do during the winter.
Yeah.
Same exact
You
thing.
do not leave your truck.
No,
without
man,
dusting down.
guys go out in the middle of the summer and run these game cameras and stuff, and you know, they stop and eat a chicken strip on the way down there, and they're, you know, got barbecue sauce underneath their
Grease on their
fingernails,
fingers.
and yeah, they just walk through 2 things of diesel and a puddle of gas in their work boots, walking inside, and they turn around and go out to the woods, and you know, they get a picture of this great deer that first day, and then he disappears. Well, hell no, yeah, he disappeared. You walked through there, and you know, as soon as he's seen the camera, he's like, what is that? You know, so that's another thing to remember too, and something that I use this for is, you know, all my straps, She actually clowns on me too, because I'll say something about the camera and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We actually was talking about her sister going and baited the other day, and I was like, oh, the smell, like, you know, and these are my yard deer, but the smell.
Yeah.
But you know, whenever I go, you know, I have one of these in the back of my side by side. I'll dust my camera down after I touch it or whatever, or you know, that kind of thing. And Bo just thinks it's cool. He thinks it's like rain. So it's just my 4-year-old. He just thinks it's cool to shake the piss out of it. So
Oh, they love it. The kids, my kids get a sock and a grunt call, and I'll tote the gun or the crossbow or whatever we're shooting, and they got their own sock in their pocket, and they dust down their self, and it's fun. It makes them feel like they're part of
the
it.
experience, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
So,
Yeah, I remember
and
my
then,
dad
and then they
was-
get to see deer. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just, and it's hard to go public land and see deer. You know, and then you're tracking in. I usually go with both of them. I can't take one without the other because they want to go, and so it's loud walking through the woods. So you've got to get there and give it time to settle down, and then not worry to take that off of
That's
daddy
one less
or-
thing you got to worry
mom,
about.
Mom or dad taking a kid out there.
Yep.
They don't have to worry so much about the wind. Let's set up in a good spot where we can see some deer.
Yep.
And you know, up on a little ridge where we can see
Get
them.
close to that bed there.
You're right up there,
Yeah.
where you going to see them. Give them a chance to see. That's all they want to do is see them. So,
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think that's all we got today. Chris, dude, thank you very much
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
me. Yeah.
Thanks for letting us come down and do this. Like I said, guys, I know that there are probably hundreds of people in the last year, at least, that have you know asked these questions. That's where they came from, you know. So hopefully we got some of you guys a little bit better explanation of exactly what camo dust is. Right? I know a lot of guys are scared of it because it's not wet. Right? Everything we hear is it's wet, it's wet, it's wet. Well, you know what? When it's 30 degrees outside, you're gonna be glad that it's dry.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Down at the bottom there'll be a camo dust link. You can go in there and buy it through that link. It's a little bit cheaper going through that way. So anyways, guys, that's all we got today. Again, we appreciate you letting us come out. Appreciate you letting these guys stare at this big deer back here in the background while we're here. It's kind of mesmerizing for me every time I look at the camera and just see big horns back there. So
They're fun to look at.
that's right. So anyways, that's all we've got today. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you later this week. Good luck out there in the woods, guys.